For this project, we're going to make our interpretation of a stained glass window. So the things you're going to need for this project are a pencil, some kind of an eraser. It can be on the back of your pencil or a larger eraser. A Sharpie. Make sure you ask your parents before using a Sharpie, and if you do use a Sharpie, put something under the paper in case your Sharpie bleeds through. Also, a black regular marker will work. Or a ruler. If you do not have a ruler, anything that has a straight edge that you can lay on your paper and trace will also work. You can do this freehand, it just makes it slightly more difficult. So for our stained glass image, we're going to make a very simple design. We're going to start with a pine tree in the center of our paper, and we're going to start with a triangle with a rectangle on the bottom. So to make my triangle, I'm going to come down from the top of my paper, about in the middle, about 2 inches, and make a dot. Now remember, everything we're going to do here is going to be erased. We need to make sure we're doing our lines very light to make them easier to erase later. So after you make your line in the center, you're going to come down, come over from the left about 2 inches, making sure to leave enough room at the bottom for your tree trunk, and then do the same thing on the other side, about the same distance. Then you're going to take your ruler and you are going to connect these dots. Working your way around your paper until you have a triangle. After we complete our triangle, we're going to move on to our tree trunk. To start our tree trunk, we're going to look for the middle of our tree. It does not need to be exact, but it makes more sense when your tree trunk's in the center. Find the middle, slide it over a little bit, make a vertical line, and then do the same thing on the other side. After you make the 2 sides of your trunk, close in the bottom. Now to get our mosaic design, we want to make a lot of small shapes on our picture and split this up into different parts. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw a total of 10 lines using the ruler. These lines need to go all the way across the paper. They do not want to stop in the middle, and they need to be random. Do not try to avoid patterns. So we're going to make a total of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see I'm randomly moving my ruler around to make random designs. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The next part, we're going to use our Sharpie. So this is where things get a little confusing. We are not tracing the lines. What we are going to do is we are going to trace the shapes that are created by these lines overlapping. So what I mean by that is these shapes throughout our picture. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your Sharpie. So you do not want to touch the lines. You're going to come next to the line and trace the shape that was created by these lines overlapping, leaving a white border around each shape. You move on to the next one again, not touching the line. Trace the shape. You want to make sure it is close enough to the line so that they can feel like they are all connecting together in the end to create white spaces in between your shapes. You are going to continue this until you have traced every shape on your picture. Alright, before we finish this step of the project, make sure you look over your projects, look for any missed shapes, The last step is to take your eraser, and you are going to go through and you're going to thoroughly erase any lines that are left. So all the pencil lines we made before, you are going to erase all those away, leaving just the white lines. So when you make stained glass, you take pieces of glass and you solder them together. So these white spots, these white lines are going to represent the solder lines. And for the next part of the lesson, we are going to color the pieces of our glass using warm and cool colors. So remember, have fun and don't be afraid to make mistakes.